Hello everyone and welcome back to class. This is the Temple of Isis Fellowship Academy and I'm here to continue on in our amazing class here, and this has been really amazing. I hope that you all are enjoying it. I hope that you like what you are hearing, because all of this is true. So I hope that you like the information that you're receiving. Before I get started, I just want to do a quick recap of the last course, and then we'll get into the next class. And this next class is going to be all about Earth itself, Gaia, Mother Earth. So we are going to be getting into that in a second, but I wanted to bring up just a quick recap about Venus. Something that you should know about Venus is when Venus is at an earlier degree of zodiacal longitude, meaning when Venus is running ahead of the sun, which means that when a person is living more in their subconscious side of their brain, when a person thinks more subconsciously, when there's a larger fraction of subconscious energy happening in someone's mind, then, and even in the universe, when Venus does this, it appears as the morning star or the day star. Okay, and so what this would mean for a person is they are more likely to work in the daytime. It's interesting how a person who's more tapped into the subconscious side of their mind, they prefer to work more in the day. It's like they've got a lot of energy. It's like the opposite. But again, it goes back to that polarity. And that's something that you may not have ever noticed or ever known about yourself or others, but it's true. Like with me, for instance, I'm half and half. I'm literally conscious and subconscious. I have the perfect balance between the two. And so I work really well either way when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to the kind of work that I do. So I'm working even in my sleep, and I'm doing it even when I'm awake. So for me, I don't know what that feels like to be more of one thing than the other. I'm not sure. But what I can say is people who are more of a subconscious thinker, they create their best works in the morning, during the day. They feel the most energized, refreshed, and that kind of thing. And then the ones where Venus at a later degree than the sun, or people who are more on the conscious side of their mind, may find that they do work better at night. Okay, in this part in the universe, when Venus goes at a later rate than the sun, this is called the evening star or the night star. Okay, and this is the part where Venus is known as the Queen of Heaven. Something about that night star, it's because that is like the reason why it's the queen. They say Queen of Heaven is because the subconscious, the darkness, the nighttime. That's when the moon is showing its powerful. All of the intuitive, magical energy is in the air, basically. So that's why they say the Queen of Heaven, because of all that energy there in its association with Venus. So if God is the King of Heaven, remember the solar king, Leo, Leo, Aries. Remember the left side, the conscious side, daytime, and then in the nighttime, subconscious side, feminine side, Queen of Heaven. Okay, so the masculine side of God is the King of Heaven. The feminine side of it is the Queen of Heaven. So, which is why a lot of people do not acknowledge God as as having femininity as well as masculinity, is because it's in the dark. It's like a hidden secret. Remember, it's the secret of the universe. That's why I brought up this 369 thing, to help you understand. The masculine side of God is representing that 3, the feminine, that 6, and that 9 is the intellect, okay, of these two merging together. So okay, so we have that, you guys. Now let's go ahead and move on into Gaia, Earth. This is really awesome. Another thing that I noticed before we get started with Gaia, just real quick, what I noticed about this, my emergenetics profile that I had done this past summer, I know that my mind and the way that I think is like literally 39% yellow, 39% red, right? The whole Venus and Leo, Aries and, Taurus thing. So basically, Aries and Taurus type of mind, or Leo and Libra, Venus and Mars. Venus and Mars. Basically, yeah, because the Leo represents the sun itself. So Venus and sun, that's what I wanted to say to make it easier. My mind is split literally evenly between Venus and sun. Okay, so, but remember I said that there was a small fractions of the other colors, which are blue and green, in this like pie chart profiling of the way people think. So I'm 10% in the blue, which is analytical, and 11% in structural. Very small amounts compared to the big yellow and red. But I wanted to point something out to you all, and also to tell you, all throughout these classes, I'm going to make references and examples for myself to show you who I am, but also to show you so that it makes sense. If you were to add all of these numbers, you would get threes in all of it. You would get, you get 10 and 11, those little small fractions, and you add that together, that's going to be your 21. And in one of the courses, I did talk about the number 21. And on the other side of my mind, you have the yellow and red, they're both 39. You add these up, that's 12 and 12. I did talk about the reflection, the polarity thing, 21, 12, 1, 2, 2, 1. I talked about that in a class as well. And that's literally my mind's percentages here on this profile, 21 and 12. And if you just reduce those, you get 33, which is my life path number. Also, and to be a life path number 33, that's the number of ascended masters. That's the number of people like Jesus Christ. That's, all of these like strong spiritual gurus, leaders, figures in society a lot of them are marked by that life path number. 33 is the highest degree in other things as well. It's a very powerful number. The number 3 itself is very powerful. So when it comes to the way I think, aka my intellect, remember I told you that intellect represents the 3 in the 369 theory. So I am the basically mastermind behind this whole universe. So we're going to keep going, okay? I just wanted to make a reference to that because I noticed it the other day and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could say that too in this because it makes sense too. All right, so let's keep going. Let's start with this. So if you have the book, or if you do not have the book, I do recommend getting the book and just keeping it. Like, this book is something, if you're into astronomy, physics, science, astrology, anything like this, spirituality, anything regarding these things, you should just keep this book because I just love the way it's written because they tell the truths. Like, I know what's the truth and what's not, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, they're really telling the whole thing. And there's a lot of mythology here, but you have to see why the authors are putting this mythology in there. It's not to persuade you to believe in whatever they said before this time. They're just mentioning it to make it make sense the same way I am. And I think that it's so crazy because her name is literally Ariel, and I'm just like, this is amazing because I get it, and I know it's like, it's just awesome. So get the book if you don't have it. Now we're on page 53. But right, on the left side of this page is page 52, and there is this old, you can tell that this is pretty old and ancient. This is an old, like, it looks like a newspaper, like an old newspaper article. But if you look at it at the top, it says Isidis, like Isis, but back then, in Rome, they said Isidis. Okay. Now this is some type of letter or description of who Isis is. And they say the cult of Isis, one of the personifications of the Great Mother, was widespread throughout Western Asia and Europe and finally merged with early Christianity. Many of Mary's, from Christianity and Catholicism, many of Mary's attributes were borrowed from Isis. Isis is shown here on a page from Athanasius or something. So this is something that was found way back in 1652. On the left hand side of this, some type of document, whatever this is, you'll see names listed there. Remember, Isis has 10,000, goddess of 10,000 names. All of these mythological figures trace back to one woman. Like I said before, the mysterious snake, fish, watery woman above the earth before any humans were there. Same thing. So you have names there such as Isis, Minerva, Venus. Remember I told you Venus and Isis, the same thing. Juno, Ceres, Diana, Rhea, Luna. We are familiar with Luna a lot because, the moon, Luna. So all of these different names for one woman. Now, in the book, there is something that I found to be really cute. I love that the authors added these little hymns and these pieces from like playwrights and poems and books and things like that. I like this. So in the beginning it says, I shall sing of well-formed earth, mother of all and oldest of all, who nourishes all things living on land. Her beauty nurtures all creatures that walk upon the land, and all that move in the deep or fly in the air. This is from the, I don't know how you pronounce it, if it's Homeric hymn, or if it's like the H is silent and it's Amharic, but who cares? It's from that hymn, and it says, to earth, mother of all. Okay, so this was, honestly, is beautiful. It's beautiful because that's exactly how you would describe a mother of earth. Nurtures all, everything, every single thing. So we have that, and then so let's go to this page here. I think it's, page 55. Now on page 55 there is a biologist. They talk about a biologist named James Lovelock. Now listen to this, okay? James Lovelock. One more time. James Lovelock. The first thing I think is that Kanye West song, keep your love locked down, your love locked down. I think about that song, keep your love locked down. So with this, just his name is connected to Venus so much, the mother of the sky, so much. It's connected to Venus so much, you guys. Notice how I said mother of the sky. Remember, on the body, the sky would be the heart. But ironically, Venus, like I said, everything that's happening in the brain has a reflection of itself on the body. And remember I said that the celestial part of the human body is everything from the heart or breast, chest area on up. And everything beneath that is considered more earthly, okay? The actual body. Where the upper parts, the upper chakras are considered the heaven of the human structure, the human vessel. So, but the craziest thing is like with Venus we know is the subconscious part of your mind, so we know that that's the right side of your brain, but it reflects itself onto the earth. Everything is a reflection onto the earth. So Venus is connected to, there's like two places. So you got Taurus and Libra, right? So Taurus is the second zodiac sign, and Taurus is located at the neck area. So Venus is reflected on, like in the human body, the neck area. Just think about it. Romance, kisses on the neck. For some reason, when you're having an intimate moment with someone, it's always the neck. It's always like some kind of way somebody's going to make their way to that neck. And then it's like the most sensitive little, sensual little spot right there on the neck. So Venus is, represented as the neck too. And remember, like, it's because, Gemini, the lungs, the breath, the air. The Taurus is right next to Gemini. Some of these, like all of the zodiac signs, mesh with the other sign next to it. So they're very, 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 very close on the body. So sometimes they may have double functions. So we have the neck area, those little soft kisses. That's, the neck is considered like intimacy, right? And that's a proper way to see Venus show up on the human body. And then there's another place. Venus is, remember, I'm going to make this make sense. So Venus, remember I said that Mercury pulls energy from two planets. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, so it's using solar energy. And then I tested you guys and asked you what other thing could Mercury be pulling together with the sun. What else? Well, it's right next to it, it's right behind it. Venus, in that association to water. Okay, I explained this whole water Venus concept before. So the water and the solar power is what is pulling these two closer together. Okay, so it's interesting because it's like it's using that solar energy and to balance itself, basically, to be able to have it stand right there in front of the sun without burning out and without being destroyed. So that's what Mercury's doing, right? AKA your throat is that, like your throat, lungs is that air, but it's also that connector piece on your body to connect your head from the rest of your body as well. So that's what it's doing. It's a vehicle of transportation. It's a transporter. So that's what, that's doing. Now think about it. Taurus is associated with the color blue, since it is located around the neck. Okay, and that blue is associated with water. That's that Venus element. And Taurus is also ruled by what? The planet Venus. That's why that blue comes in, the blue throat chakra. So that's how it shows up in your body. Now what about the red? Because remember, Venus's primary color is red, right? So on the body we have another chakra, and which chakra is red is the root chakra, located down below, like around the private areas, the genitals, that area. That's your root chakra. That's associated with the color red. Red means love and passion. So that Libra is around that area as well. Libra is connected to your lower back, your groin area, your kidneys, all of that. Libra shares the space with Scorpio, the sign right next to it. So they both have connections to your sexual body parts, your reproductive system, genitals, ovaries, eggs. They both have access to it because Libra is so close to Scorpio. So remember, that chakra in itself is red. So that's why you have, think about it. The colors, what'll help you remember a lot of this is if you associate it with the colors as well. It's kind of easy to see the connection, the relationship now to these things. Okay, so we've got a lot going on here. But once again, and then also, it's like I'm unfolding, like I'm peeling an onion, and it just keeps going on. There's so many different layers, because I want to, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to point out the polarity there, even with the red and the blue, the water and the fire, right? Because love is considered fiery, passion's considered fiery as well. So we've got like this red and blue polarity here as well, the hot and cold, the yin and yang. Still, even Venus in itself has its own type of yin and yang, to be honest with you, just like the sun does. However, the sun sticks with the same element, fire. Aries and Leo sticks with it. It just, the left side of your brain just sticks with the same thing. It's a pattern there. Fire meets fire on that left hemisphere, that subconscious side. It doesn't mix up things. It's all about order, structure, analytical, logic, fire. But on that subconscious side of your mind, that's when it mixes up. It doesn't just stick with like fire. It's like you've got fire and water there. Okay? And I don't even talk about earth and air being there with Taurus and Libra, right? So basically, Venus in itself is so unique. And the reason why it is so unique is because that is the side you dream on. That's where your imagination lives. And in order for human beings to have an imagination, to have a dream, to see life in full color, there needs to be full access to all there could be. And Venus is a representation and a personification of how unique the entire universe is. How far can a person's mind really go? Venus gives fantasy, imagination, wonder, and pure bliss. That is why you can imagine things. That is why creators can create amazing works of art. That is why artists and writers can do some amazing things in their lives thanks to Venus. So, Gaia has a connection with the sky. If Gaia is the sky mother, then who's the sky father? Now we're talking about Gaia now, so we're talking about the earth part. We're talking about the lower part of your body. We're talking about the part that's, under the heart and down. So if the top, if the top part here, the sky mother is Gaia, who is the sky father? We can't say it's the sun. We already know where the sun is by now. We can't say that it's Mercury. We already know where that is. We can't say it's Venus. We already know where that is. And plus, Venus is a woman. And it's all about masculine, feminine here, right? So who is the sky father then? It's a man. It's a man planet. Who do you think can handle Earth? Like, who can... Think about it. Like, if this were dating, think about Earth. Think about Gaia. Like, Earth is so independent. Earth can do a lot of things for real. Like, Earth can do volcanoes. Hurricanes. All kinds of stuff. Earth can regenerate itself. Like, it just does so many things. Even though it has support. It has supporting planets. It has that energy from Venus there. It has that Mercury. It has the influence of the sun. Earth has everything around it that supports it. So don't get me wrong, Gaia has support from a lot of people around her. A lot of people really do support Gaia. A lot of people play a role in Gaia's existence. People love Gaia. People love Mother Earth. People appreciate it. People love to be here. People think it's beautiful. People take pictures of her without her even knowing. She's on camera. She's being recorded. Like, she's beautiful. Everybody thinks so. On the inside and the outside. Some people cause problems because they want smoke. Some people are pollutants. And Gaia has her own pollutants too. She shakes things up too. And I think that people don't realize that you really need Gaia to exist. So anyway, you have that. Now, who can handle this? Who can make a perfect union with the earth? We already know where these other planets are. We haven't gotten to all of the planets yet. There's still so many left that you can choose. You can say Saturn. You can say Jupiter. We hadn't gotten into that yet. You can say Pluto. We didn't talk about that. You can say, is that it? You can say Moon. We have not talked about the Moon yet. So you can say Uranus. Uranus. Who can handle it? Uranus. Remember, Uranus has that word new in it. Has that word new in it. And remember, the new is the cosmic waters above the firmament, above that vault that God put up there. So basically, if Gaia is what's below the heart, like the body, and the heart and above it is the heavens, and Uranus represents new, the cosmic waters above Earth. That's the only thing that can really handle Gaia, is something that's above her level of let's say above her level of the word is the word is right there, it's just not coming out. That's something that is her polarity. That's what I meant to say. Her total opposite. That's what I want to say. What is perfect for Gaia is something that is her complete opposite. That's what's perfect for the earth. Something that's made of something totally different. Because remember, the earth is so powerful that it can do a lot of things on its own. She is very independent on her own. She can think for herself. She can cook for herself. She's really intelligent, right? So like, what can be the thing that can bring in something new? Uranus can bring in something new for her. And it doesn't have to be an actual love marriage. It can be a partnership. So Uranus is all about bringing in revolution, huge change, shaking things up. The pow factor, pow wow, boom, this is happening. New. Innovation, technology, creativity out of this world. That is what intrigues Gaia. That is what intrigues Earth. New things. Creation itself is what intrigues Gaia. Life, reproduction, new babies, new species. Think about it. There's a new fish in the sea. Scientists still don't know all of the fish species in the sea. Scientists still don't know every single bird. Scientists still don't know a lot of things, and that's what Gaia loves. Gaia loves to keep your mind going. Keeping Earth interesting is finding out all of these new things that are here on Earth. And that is why people start to really learn to appreciate Gaia's existence and appreciate having her here with you, or you here with her. Because really that's what it is. This is her world. You just want to be in it. You should appreciate what is being granted to you, this access that you have to all of these amazing things that are happening. So Gaia is here making things, creating things for human beings' pleasure, for your enjoyment, for your education, for you to form new philosophies, for you to form new beliefs, for you to explore and experience this amazing planet. And I mean, this planet does a lot of things that makes you really have no problem with staying here, to be honest, because it's like Gaia Earth is a 24/7 museum, a 24/7 art exhibit. There's always something new. It's like your blockbuster film every single day. The entertainment here on Earth by every living organism is really quite fascinating. Scientists could never get bored, which means that human beings could never want to leave Earth, because there's so many things that are happening. The mind of Gaia moves at an incredibly rapid rate, which is why other planets really are not able to keep up with Gaia. Only Uranus. And it's not the way Gaia thinks, because I haven't even revealed to you where Uranus is located. So it's not about that, really. It's not about that. It's really about the innovation of Gaia standing on its own, just able to create. Who is another type of planet that can do things so in such a big way that can even impress Gaia? Uranus, the planet of innovation. So let me tell you, the discovery of Uranus, and this part right here is in the book. The discovery of Uranus was March 13th. See, the number 13 they say is superstitious, right? Because a lot of out of this world things can happen. But that's because that's that whole Aries, Gemini thing going on there, right? That's that whole in the center of the clock thing that's going on and happening here. So, but the 13 is a superstitious number, and it is in the middle of the clock, but there's other numbers in the middle too. But anyway, we're going to get to all of that later. March 13th, 1781 was when they discovered Uranus in the 1700s. Now that's pretty late in the game to say that the stars and the planets had been studied since BC, since like the 5th century BC. So since the 5th century BC all the way till 1781, that's damn near the century we're in right now. I mean, that's only a few centuries away. Like, I mean, it's not that far away from where we are now compared to how far 5th century BC was. So how did it take that long to discover Uranus? So it's because all of the planets were visible. You know, depending on where you live, you could just see the other planets from different ways, different devices, and different ways you could just see them. But the first planet to be seen with a telescope was discovered by William Herschel, an astronomer, a German astronomer. So from his location, he was able to use a telescope and he discovered Uranus. He was going to call it a different name too, but he called it Uranus. And I like the fact that he actually called it Uranus because, listen to this, the name Uranus was not, listen, let me tell you how history contradicts itself. I'm about to really tell you guys how history always contradicts itself. There's a god, in some mythological god named his name sounds like Uranus. And let me tell you how this wasn't real. Because this god so-called existed in BC, right? The time of ancient Egypt, the Greeks and all of that. This guy so-called existed around that time. Uranus, and then like now we have all of this associations to Uranus and the planet Uranus. How is that so if Uranus wasn't discovered until 1781? That's because there is a glitch, okay? Like that God had nothing to do with this planet, and maybe that God was not real, okay? So that's another thing. It's always some type of contradiction going on. But anyway, so what I want to talk to you about, the reason why I bring this up is because the same thing like Ariel said in the book. This was in 1781. Now, the Industrial Revolution, hint, revolution. Uranus is associated with revolution, new things coming out, innovation. So the Industrial Revolution occurred starting in 1760. It's not a coincidence that machinery, manufacturing techniques, technology, all of these things started to advance society, and they just came out of nowhere. They started to build this and build that, and all these like new ideas and concepts and all these new inventions. All of these things started to happen around that same time that they discovered Uranus. About 21 years, hint, 21. About 21 years after the start of Industrial Revolution is when they discovered Uranus, or James Lovelock discovered this new planet. So is it that, this is what I want you to know about planets. This is very important. Planets, first let me ask you a question. Are the planets influencing the humans to take particular actions and to do particular things, and it shows up as a physical manifestation on Earth? AKA, is the top part of your body, your brain, and all of the things at the top above the heart, is that telling the bottom what to do? Or is it that you humans are creating things and doing things on your own, and the planets are showing up to affect the energy as a result of what you're doing already? See what I mean? Like Uranus showed up 21 years after humans had already started to revolutionize Earth. Humans had started to revolutionize Earth before Uranus even came into the picture. But if the latter part of what I just said were true, then that would mean that the movements and all these functions of your body, you will be able to do these things with before you can tell your brain that you just did it. So it'll be like, hey brain, I just moved my leg. Give me a signal in my mind, let me know I just moved my leg. So imagine life like that. Like if humans were actually as innovative as they thought they were, then it would be like we could just do whatever we wanted to do to these planets. Then we could hop on them and hop off, like a hop on hop off tour bus. We can just do all these things we want to do to God's beautiful creation if we could just be the ones influencing and inspiring and innovating and changing things, and the universe follows us. No, humans will forever always be under the influence of what's above them, because human life, Earth itself, is just a reflection of what is happening in the cosmos, the greater universe. Every earthling is just like mirroring what's above. As above, so below. So what this means is that Uranus made himself known when Lovelock discovered it. It wanted to be known because it was its time to be revealed. And Lovelock was the one who did it, and this is why he was the one who discovered it. I'm going to tell you why it was him that was chosen. He was born November 15th, 1738. That just sounds so old. November 15th, 1738. Okay, he was a Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is ruled by the planet Pluto. I don't know where Mars comes from for Scorpio. I mean, Scorpio creates problems. It really does. That's a sign that creates problems. That's a sign that does like to war with people. It does. But Scorpio is not a warrior. So that's why I don't get that. But Pluto, definitely. So this is a planet that's ruled by Pluto, right? Now, Scorpio is a sign that dwells in darkness. It likes to, all of the hidden, mysterious things. Scorpio in itself is subconscious, to be honest. I don't like it. Really is. Like it's definitely a subconscious zodiac sign. It's always in the dark. I mean, the subconscious world, which is why that sign is connected to the intuition and the moon, and has all these references to that because of it likes the mystery. It holds a lot of mystery. Herschel's Mercury is also in Scorpio, and if his Mercury is in Scorpio, that means that when it comes to his intellect, he enjoys mystery. He enjoys trying to find out answers. He enjoys questioning everything. He enjoys what is hiding that intrigues him. And he hides a lot of things himself as well. So he probably discovered this by spending a lot of time by himself with that telescope. The privacy of it all. Now his midheaven, now, because in astrology, a person's midheaven shows them their quote-unquote destiny. It just shows you like your legacy, if that makes sense. So that's for him in Gemini. And remember, Gemini is the communicator, the messenger. His 11th house, which is the house connected to Aquarius, which is also connected to Uranus. His 11th house is Cancer. The 11th house is all about community, the world, society, humanity. And that's in Cancer. And Cancer is an intuitive sign, spiritual, connected to the moon. But remember, originally Cancer was also connected to Mercury, the messenger. And then Uranus, his Uranus is in Capricorn. Uranus, the planet of innovation, the planet of technology, science. His is in Capricorn. And Capricorn represents management as well as long term. So you can see by his placements in these specific areas why he was the messenger of a new planet, because remember, sun, going back to a person's sun sign, is the conscious part of their mind. So his innate will, his innate purpose is Scorpio, which means he's naturally born having a purpose to reveal mysteries or to be fascinated with mystery. His subconscious will or subconscious purpose, his subconscious will or subconscious purpose is going to be, the thing that he has to find, right? Throughout his life, on his own, basically. Which, that part is connected to Venus. And I thought I wrote down what is his Venus. I thought I wrote that down. I can't look at it right now. I can't remember what I wrote down for his Venus. But anyway, the subconscious part of his mind is going to be his purpose, like what he ends up being known for and that kind of thing once he's found it. And we'll be able to tell after I speak about this if he really found it, right? Let's look at the other things. Now, his Mercury's in Gemini. His Mercury's in Scorpio. So the communicator, the messenger part of his the messenger part of his mind is in Scorpio. Okay? So his sun, remember, his innate will is connected to mystery. So he's naturally going to be into this stuff. And then his intellect is also into occult sciences, occult, esoteric, scientific thinking. That's just how he is. That's literally how he thinks. That's literally what he's fascinated in. That's how he's naturally created to be. So with this, we already know what his passion is. His passion is the occult sciences, the mysteries, the secrets of the universe, basically. That's his thing. Now, we look at his midheaven, okay, well, what's going to be his destiny, his life path, his legacy? What's his highest point? Gemini. So he's going to be someone known as a messenger of, depending on if he taps into his conscious and his subconscious. See, I don't know why I didn't write down what his Venus is, but if he taps into both sides, he'll become a messenger of these things. We know that on the conscious side, it's all about occult, magic, secrets of the universe. And if he follows that path, he'll end up becoming a messenger of these things. Did he do it? Yes. And how do we know? Because the evidence is there. The evidence is there. He did this. This evidence is there. He reached it, which means he also integrated wherever his Venus placement is, because Venus is passion. So he had to integrate also the subconscious part of his mind. I'll have to look it up and then tell you guys where his Venus is located in the next course. But wherever that sits at for him, yes, the answer is yes, because that's exactly what he did. Now, the 11th house is like your audience, humanity, the rest of the world. That for him is in Cancer. So what that says is that his audience is going to be people who are intuitive thinkers, people who are in touch with their senses, like especially their psychic senses, people who are into psychic phenomena, and like people who embrace mystical information. And that's the people who received the message and said, yeah, these are the people who carried out his destiny for him. Once it hit these people, then everybody found out. Now, Uranus is about that innovation, that new idea, that new concept, that technology. His sits in Capricorn. Capricorn is about long-term and management, things like that. So for Herschel, whatever he brought into the world that was original would be long-term. It would be something that would be hard to erase from this world. He would leave a mark on the world. And did he? Yes, he did. All of these many hundreds of years later, we know about Uranus. We know it's a part of the solar system. We know about it. We acknowledge it. We talk about it all the time. Now it's in astrology. Everybody knows about it now. So did he actually become a complete person by the time, his journey was over? Absolutely. He did. Now, this is the thing. If a woman did these things, would a woman get the same effect? Would a woman be able to reach her nirvana, her level of enlightenment in this patriarchal society? If a woman did these same things, had these same placements exactly, and discovered new things, would a woman get the same attention, credit, all of the shine for it? Not really. I don't think so. I think before the woman could even get an opportunity to be worldly recognized for such a great finding like that, I think that the men would have taken this in their own hands. The men would have some kind of way tried to find a way to collaborate with this woman. They would have tried to find a way to market and promote it, but with them being able to get a share. Some kind of way it would have been different. And the reason why is because you may have Uranus coming through with this big revolutionary energy, and you may have a lot of revolutionary people coming out of that time period. But there could have been other planets in alignment to kind of like oppose these types of people who are under this Uranus energy more strongly than others. There could have been some opposing elements that would possibly try to attach themselves to her or drain her energy or try to like take credit with her or something like that. I don't know if she would have been just doing it on her own, especially in that time era. The 1700s, think about it. Women were definitely not at that point yet where they had that type of freedom and independence. And that's the thing. Patriarchal society sees Mother Earth as a thing, and not a deity to worship the same as God? You know, why is it that people now don't respect and worship Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, whatever you want to say, Mother Mary, Mother Isis, whatever, it's all the same? Why is it that people don't praise or worship that the same way as God? Why is it just a concept or some type of artistic expression and not known as people's actual truth? Even the earliest people of Europe, meaning like Caucasian people, recognize a male and a female duality as the governing power of the universe. Way like the earliest people, the earliest Europeans, the earliest people had already acknowledged God as woman and man. And then when Christianity, can you guess? Christianity, when Christianity came in, that is when see that book, see that Bible book? The Bible book took all of these stories from history and rewrote these stories the way that they wanted it to be written. The reason why the Bible is so powerful is because it has ancient text that is true in it. But it also has a lot of stories that had been rearranged and changed to fit the likings of people who were followers of the Christian cult. Christianity used to be a cult in the beginning, just like the cult of Isis. Now it's Mother Mary and Christ, but it used to be cults because certain people follow certain things until it became global, like Christianity became global. But you know, that's a different story. So page 56 in the book, you have something here that says, if there is a sign that honors Gaia in its most glorious form of who she is, that sign is Taurus. Isn't that crazy? Because how is that sign Taurus if we just said that Uranus, who rules Aquarius, is like the perfect partner in crime, or whatever you want to call it, partner in business, whatever, to work with Gaia? If we just said that Earth works best with Aquarius, then where did Taurus come from? Where did Taurus come from? Taurus is, once again connected to Venus, one of the greatest lovers of all. So when it comes to love, Taurus would match up with Gaia the best. When it comes to partnership for the sake of revolution, it would be Uranus. But for love, it would probably be Taurus. So why Taurus? Well, the obvious is that Taurus is connected to Venus. Venus rules Taurus. The epitome of love is Venus. So you've got to have some type of Venusian sign. You got to have one of them, Taurus or Libra. You got to have one of them, because really and truly it's about Venus. It's not really about Taurus. But if you had to choose, it's Taurus, because Taurus is the earth sign. Taurus is the grounding force. Libra is the balancing force. So why is it that, Gaia doesn't choose the balancing force to be like the strongest lover for her? Why not a Libra? Why not the balance? because Libra is around the hip area in the body. And I know when you think about the lower part of your body from the heart on down, why not the hips and the lower back, and why not that connection? Why did Gaia choose the throat to be her strongest lever? Why did she choose Taurus? Because the neck is the connector to God, the transporter. And the neck is also above Gaia in relation to, the body. So you have the neck area. So that's why. Because remember, Gaia only chooses things that can do things that she cannot, like things that she just, that's above her pay rate, her pay rate. Gaia doesn't do anything that she doesn't need to do, basically. So that's why. Okay, Gaia is gonna let Taurus be the one who, says what, that's the neck area, the throat chakra. So Gaia allows, that Venusian Taurian energy to ground her. And how does Taurus ground Gaia? Through self-expression, communication, sound. Going back to the very first video, sound being the creation of the universe. And God, in the beginning, God said, let there be light. That sound from God, whether it's music, His voice, that's soothing to Gaia. That's soothing to the earth. To hear the angels sing, to hear the voice of God. Okay. The age of Aquarius, somebody said that it began November 2024. So people have been talking about the age of Aquarius since 2020. I remember a lot of people been talking about this. But somebody said that it actually started November 2024. Which is interesting because Aquarius starts in January. Aquarius starts in January. People say a lot of things about the age of Aquarius because all these new inventions and technology and all of this stuff. Age of Aquarius starts this year in 2025. I'm here to tell you this is the year. Age of Aquarius is this year. Which is why whenever there's going to be a full moon in Aquarius, not the new moon coming up, but the full moon in Aquarius, which I think is toward the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Is it in November? Is it always in November? Hold on. It's not in November. It's in August, on the 9th. On the 9th in a 9 year. We're ending a cycle. We're all going to be closing up an old era. And everybody's about to come into a brand new era. Because everybody's got a thirst for change. Everybody's hungry for a change. Everybody wants positive change. Everybody is trying to elevate right now. Everyone wants to go higher spiritually, mentally, emotionally. People are just tired of being bogged down or feeling drained by whatever the last cycle left everyone to deal with, whatever the last leaders left everyone to have to deal with. People are just really tired of all of that. People are just ready for things to just improve, get better, get better, get better. People really want to see change. So we talked a lot about the intellect and Mercury, right? Previously. And, you know, Virgo is one of those signs where, like, you know, before the age of Aquarius comes in, there was a lot of Virgonian energy. Virgo is connected to the intestines, okay? And remember, I say people are thirsty and hungry for change. And that's the part where, like, people are ready to get out of all of that. You know, people are really wanting to get out of that area. So basically, intellect is about to change and go into revolution. So you go from people who like to ponder and study and research in order to find inspiration from whatever it is that they're studying and researching, whether they're mimicking a person or they're trying to reenact something that's already happened in the past and call it their own. That's going out of the window now. What is coming in to the new world are the people who actually are innovative, original, really creative. That's coming into the world now. So that is why people like Elon Musk and, you know, all of these people that you see now working in technology, Bitcoin, all of these new technology, revolutionary things, that's why all of this is happening. And it's meant to happen because of Uranus. It's meant to go that way because of all of this. Like, you got to look at right now, actually, today we're under a planetary parade. There's all the planets are visible from a specific place where you're located at a specific time. You can see all of the planets lined up in the sky. It's a lot of planetary activity, and it's just meant to happen this way. But through all of this, you must know that only through a consciousness of Gaia can Aquarian science heal rather than destroy the planet. Now, what does that mean? Consciousness, God, Aries, Leo, Gaia, body, earth. Taurus. Only through these two energies, God and earth, can Aquarian science heal the planet rather than destroy the planet. So if we're talking about change and revolution, you're going to need the kind of mind, like the attributes of Aries, Leo, Taurus, Venus, Sun. You're going to need that. You're going to need God for it to be a good thing and not a bad thing. Without these two very extremely important masculine and feminine twins of each other, it's not going to be a good thing at all. Because the whole thing can no longer exist. Gaia is the natural feminine pole of the coming age. And what we're coming into is a very feminine world. And why do I say a feminine world? Because first of all, women are more powerful than they've ever been before. And if you think you've seen something yet, you haven't seen anything yet that these women are about to do in 2025. This is only the first year. This is the introduction of what women are about to start doing. And men have already seen this shift because of technology, because of Instagram and TikTok. There's remember, age of Aquarius. Remember how I mentioned Herschel discovering Uranus after Uranus had already affected the people? 21 years after the people had already been affected by it, then somebody found out. Now this is the same thing that's happening right now. The women already started changing up things. The women already became powerful before the age of Aquarius came in. So age of Aquarius really is about to kick off this year, and that's really when it's going down. Like, this is really the age of Aquarius. Really, this is. But it was already, the people were already under its influence many years before. Um, 2025 in 21 years. That was 2004. Okay, that was in 2004. We got to look at what was going on in 2004. I can't even remember. The only thing I'm thinking about from 2004 is 106 in Park on BET. And I think, that was 2004. Or if it wasn't I think it was 106 in Park was out at that time. I think so. If it wasn't, it was The Box, and it was about to come out. But I think 106 in Park was out. That's a music television show that was on BET for hip hop and R&B, and that was like, I think that was at that time. But there was a female and a male host, female and male TV host, and the lady, I remember her being tough. Her name was Free. Interesting, her name was Free. And this is all about women, like that freedom for women, that women having a free voice, having freedom of speech, women being in roles or positions that they normally wouldn't have. Interesting. So maybe there's something else, not just that, but that's all I can really remember. I remember middle school as well. But anyway, so like there's like a lot of things. So after this, I'm gonna have some more information about 2004, like the news and different things that were going on around certain women around that time. But anyway, we're looking at like women being affected by these things way in advance. Okay. So before I wrap this one up at this time, I want you guys to look at something. This may be a little homework after this class. This may be something else to look at. So all body functions work together to create a healthy, vital planet called Earth. Okay? All your body functions work together to create a healthy, vital planet called your Earth. And where's Earth again? Under your heart. All of that. Alright, so there's different things that your body does in these areas, like your stomach processes food and your kidneys filter the water in the blood. Things like that. They work together to make sure your body is healthy. Right? To make sure that where you live, inside of your vessel, is healthy. The same way that things happen in the universe. Things working together to make sure that the universe itself stays healthy. So let me bring up one last thing here for this class about polarity. Okay. Now this is going to be really, really interesting to a lot of people, because astrology does not really express this the way it should be. This may be new to some people, but this is really, really interesting right here. So, our first, I've been talking about polarity every day. And your first understanding of it is just by simply thinking of the left and right hemispheres of your brain. Sun and Venus right there. One is a reflection of the other. One is a male, one is a female. Your body is the reflection or polar opposite of your mind and your head and the upper celestial parts of your body, right? So I'm going to use myself, for instance, to help you understand something very unique about this type of polarity and how you can locate this certain thing in your astrological birth chart and what it all means for you. I'm going to use me for an example. So we have in tropical astrology Aries Sun and Aries Mercury, which means that the polar opposite to these signs will be Libra. Libra, right? If I look at my tropical fourth house, it'll be in Libra as well. Fourth house meaning home. Okay. So home and, like dwelling and work, because fourth house represents work as well, is Libra. So we've got my polar opposite being Libra and fourth house placement Libra. So what does this mean? Why am I looking at this? Why does the polar opposite sign even matter? Well, first of all, we may know that every person pulls a little bit of energy from the polar opposite sign associated to them. But some people don't know what they're actually pulling. People just, like in astrology, they say, oh, you're pulling the quote-unquote shadow aspects of yourself. And the reason why they say shadow is because it's the polar opposite. It's the other side. Because your sun sign is always your conscious side. And anything on the other side of it is always the shadow. So the shadow of an Aries is Libra when your sun sign is in Aries. So we have Libra showing up here, right? Now, what does this say about a person's where they are? Like basically, what does it tell you about my personal Earth? What this tells you is that Libra is a sign that is all about balance and love. So what that tells you about me as a person, as an individual, my world consists of harmony and love. I am basically a person who loves harmony. I love to bring balance to humanity. I love to balance this out. I love to do that. That's what I do. That feels like home to me. So that's what you can ask. When you know this about a person, then you can look at, okay, where does this person live at? Where is their head living at? Where do they live at? For me, it's the intellect. It's the intellect. Why did I say the intellect? Because Libra and Aquarius are both air signs. Libra and Aquarius are both air signs. So with air signs, that's connected to that Mercury. That's connected to, the intellect, like I said. So yeah, I'm getting a little tired. So we have the intellect. So that's why the intellect keeps a person like this grounded. What do you need to feel grounded? Intellectual people, intellectual conversations, and to be in my own intellect. What is home for me? Intellect. creative arts, intuitive arts, words, psychology, English, writing, poetry, things like that. Let me use another example. William Herschel, the guy we were talking about in the earlier. William Herschel's sun sign is Scorpio, which means that the opposite sign, polar opposite of Scorpio, is Taurus. Here it is. I knew I wrote it somewhere. His Venus. Okay, William Herschel's Venus is Capricorn. I knew I wrote it somewhere. Which means that hold on, let me just say, earlier when I talked about William Herschel, I was trying to find out his Venus to see what type of, what zodiac sign is attached to his subconscious mind. And for him, it's Capricorn, going back to that management and long term. Okay. And we say that the combination between his sun sign and his subconscious, that would let us know if he basically lived a full, complete life. And so Scorpio, the dark, mysterious, subconscious part of the mind, paired with the serious nature of Capricorn, the long-term aspect there. And so now we can, like I said, before I even knew what it was, I already knew that he reached nirvana. I already knew, because you can tell by just simply looking at how long his discovery, had an impact on the lives of humanity, on the lives of people. Yes, it did. We still acknowledge this planet, Uranus. We all know about it. So before we even knew what his Venus was, we knew that. So anyway, going back to him. So William Herschel, his sun signs in Scorpio, his Venus is in Capricorn, which the opposite of Capricorn is Cancer. His Mercury is in Scorpio, the opposite is Taurus, and his fourth house, his home house, is in Sagittarius, right? So for him, he's got a lot of things going on. He's got Venus, Jupiter, Moon, and Mercury influences connecting back to his soul's origins. Okay, so what this says, because this is all about your polar opposite sign is your missing half, like the missing part of you that you're always gonna find when you need to feel the most at home, the most grounded. And like I said, for me, that's intellect. I have to always learn something. I have to always enrich my life with smart people things in order for me to feel grounded. I always have to engage in some type of smart, interesting conversation. Basically, that's what keeps me grounded. That's what makes me feel all right. That's what keeps me feeling like, okay, yeah, I'm nested in the earth. I'm good. So for someone like Herschel, having these specific placements, what this says is he does have a lot going on, but what we're really trying to focus on here is just really, we're going to look at the planets more than anything, right? Venus, Jupiter, Moon, and Mercury. He's got Venus here. So that tells us it's something about, it's a thing that he's passionate about. Jupiter here, that gives us travel. Okay, so a traveler, a wanderer. We've got the Moon here. Okay, it's something about spirituality. We got Mercury here. All right, it's something about transportation again. So we know that with Herschel, what keeps him feeling grounded, what does he need to feel grounded? It must be some type of astral travel. We already know he's passionate about it. We see what he does for a living. That's the Venus. And And now we've just got to connect the dots with the Jupiter, Moon, and Mercury. So Jupiter's travel, the Moon is intuition and mysticism, and then Mercury is travel as well. So that tells us right there something about the stars, astral travel. So what keeps someone like Herschel, what would keep him feeling at most at home, is when he can astral travel or do something connected to outer space. And are we right? Yes, we are. By simply looking at the opposites in astrology, that can help us. If we were to just look at only the opposite of his sun sign, his conscious side, we would get Taurus. And if we were to just only base that off of that, then we would just come up with the assumption that what makes him feel grounded is money. What makes him feel most at home is when he's making money. But we know that this man is way more gifted than that. Like, money is not the driving force for him. We know that. We've seen his life's work. So we have to look at, okay, what's these other things? I looked at a few other things, but I could have looked at I could have only looked there and also looked at the Venus. I could have looked at the sun, the opposite of the sun, and the opposite of Venus, and I could have figured it out. Because this opposite of Capricorn, where his Venus is Cancer, which is intuition, mysticism, spirituality. So I could have come up with an assumption there, but it only would have led me to what makes him feel most at home is making money from like knowing things, being a psychic, being a seer, something like that, being a fortune teller. So I think it's important to look at different aspects before, thinking that what gets a person going or something. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up here. I still have a few other things that I want to cover before we move on to the next part. But it's not that much, so I'm going to kind of quickly go into that on the next one. And then after that, we get into the moon finally, which is going to be a lot of information. All right, so I hope that you're ready for that, class. The moon is very exciting, by the way. The moon is probably the most fascinating planet in the entire universe. Everyone's fascinated with the moon. Okay, so we're going to talk about Mrs. Luna next time. Thank you for attending class.